Alright gamers, welcome. This game we're going to be playing Aphelios Nautilus into Kaisa Nami. Going to be running Alacrity, just think I'm testing with engage supports at the moment. Where I figure some early game power just in order to actually follow up on their engages as effectively as possible may be needed. Even in a game where otherwise you want to go full scaling. Once this last set, I'm gonna make her work for it. Oop, that wasn't great. Oh well. Yeah, Nami was able to help her in that trade in without actually directly walking up to me, unfortunately. So maybe I should have just cut that short at just the one auto. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's a fairly solid trade there. That'll make up for the bad trade that I took earlier. Ah, misclicked. I was trying to click on Kaisa there. We've already seen Wukong somewhere on the map, just because he's already... We see that he's level 2. Surely he's not going to gank us though, right? I could actually just base here. I think I'm going to do that. Nautilus isn't very good at pressuring under turrets, so right now, basically, I'm just warding. And then also continuing to push. But I might as well just base. So I can already just get a call. Maybe he can pull off a gank on mid lane, we'll see. Either way, I don't really need him in the lane right now when I'm not in the lane personally, so... Got a lot of time to try and see what he can make happen. This is smart from Silas, by the way. The Valkyries, if he wants to cancel the space, needs to actually walk up the... Yeah, now Nautilus. Perfect. I think Silas probably backed off a little bit too far though, but alright, perfect. That's the, flash burn from the Valkas. Yeah, that was actually really smart from Silas. Oh, my bad. Okay, usually I would have put a point in W there, but just... I could tell that I was only going to get these last hits if I put a point at the Q, and yeah, may as well put that point in Q then. I can still put another point in W if I want, or I can just put another point in Q, doesn't really matter at this point. I'll probably just put a point in W, as long as I don't want to start maxing E, then I would probably rather max W since I'm not going to be building a lot of AD and not building a lot of attack speed. That was a weird W. I wonder if she misclicked. Yeah, since I'm playing with an engage support, I'm not getting to abuse my range advantage against Kaisa like I usually would, considering I still have green at level 4. But a lot of the time I just know if I walk up and try and hit her with it, then I know that I'm just going to get out-traded by the Nami just pressing W and D on her. So we're just trying to play around Nautilus engages instead. This is walking a little too far forwards, I think, when... Are they trying to freeze? Base, I mean. But I'm just holding on to green here so I can use it to potentially... follow up on a Nautilus engage more effectively if he lands one. Okay, Nami has no cooldowns here, so I can just hit Kaisa for free there. Ooh, that actually landed. Ooh. Well, smart bubble from Nami. Unfortunately, he's just gonna be dead here. That's unfortunate. Maybe I could have tried the green Q, but yeah, I just wasn't actually really in position to... follow it up. Maybe I could have positioned better, but I don't have time to review it. Alright, I'm gonna have to be clearing this wave on the turret, so let's just switch to blue now. I guess they're gonna be doing the Drake there. Alright, if I just crash this, I'm gonna put 1 point in Q. We're just gonna look to crash this and base on the F sword. Or contest the Drake, either one, but I'll want to crash this first. There we go. Don't know about that. Nautilus is on the way though. Oh man. I was just 1 out off of killing her. Okay, thankfully she does die to the ignite, but for all I know, by the way, this Volkos has ult. I'm pretty sure he does. I never saw him use it in that fight, so I'm gonna assume it's up. And yeah, I just can't really do anything. Probably should have actually just ran to this wave and killed it, but well, I already have all the gold I need for my base, so either way this is a favorable wave state with Kai'Sa dead while the wave is pushing towards us. We don't need to try and modify this in any way. Maybe I could have slightly minimized the amount of CS I would lose, but I don't want to like start trying to push it in, killing my tempo in the process, because it would already be a bit late to start doing that, and then potentially also get pushed off the wave by Wukong or something. But the safest call to make there, once I already didn't start crushing the wave instantly, was just to finish my base. Right, I could do Collector second this game if I want to. Shouldn't have a pressing need for Lord Dominic's here. Don't start putting points into E, we've got plenty of AD by now. Okay, good. We keep the wave frozen, which means that they're still going to be overextended, which is where we're going to be safest, forcing engages, and also where they're going to be least safe as well. Still can't rid of the Kai'Sa, obviously, especially now she has a bigger wave. Trying to kill this wave as slowly as I can, because now this wave will just slightly delay this wave, and again, we're just aiming to keep the wave as far on our side of the map as possible and as far away from theirs as we can. Whoa. Okay, not too bad. Got that an answer was going off non-stop there. Right, well, so long as we're just not getting engaged from Nautilus, there's just not much to do in this lane. We're just farming. Oops. Just looking at tab, I could have walked into that skill shot. Actually, we can just keep freezing here again. Especially since our jungler is finally around. Potentially we can do something with it this time. So I'm just gonna ping bot lane, bring attention to it for the Diana. She should like notice by herself that this wave is frozen and in a perfect position to gank, but just in case, never hurts to just bring attention. She's just skipping up for camps though. It is what it is. What the hell? How did that hit on me? All good. Now what about Nami? Okay. Well, it took a while, but finally we managed to land a good engage. Kind of a shame. I guess the Nautilus ult must have misplaced. Well, it doesn't really matter. She died anyway, but I guess the Nautilus ult must have misplaced Kai'Sa, because my green Q just wasn't able to hit her when I just aimed it at the same spot I'd already aimed my green ult. All good though. Yeah, let's just go to fully maximize our damage here. Like I said, I think Collector second should be fine. They got a relatively squishy comp, even though the Jackson Wukong could get fairly tanky later on. They're not going to be very tanky by the time I'm on 2 items, so I don't need or Dominic's. And as explained in the previous video, me going for this is actually by far the most damage I can build relative to gold spent. So if I went for the full Infinity Edge, assuming I could have even afforded that, it would have actually been like a worse use of my gold in the short term. And I could have been placing my sentry this whole time. All good. Get 2 hits on her. And this means that I can just go for Infinity Edge. This is also more damage relative to gold spent as well, compared to just rushing Collector, for example. So we get basically the maximum chances of snowballing, just the most early game power possible. Then we get to transition it into Infinity Edge first item, which is going to be the strongest item we could possibly have in the mid game. Even before we've even finished our second item, it's just going to scale better with further components than Collector would. Nope. I'm gonna have to flash her, I think, and I'm still incredibly slowed. Look at that damage, actually, that's nuts. Oh. Thank God, I didn't... this is my just realization just now that they have exhaust, by the way. I was definitely not playing around that. Alright, nice. I don't know where Wukong is, so I'm gonna play it safe. We're not gonna greed for another wave here. Okay, a bit of a shame that I couldn't afford boots, but I can settle for a dagger. So I'm gonna be a little bit of waiting after I've hit full HP. And for the record, I also didn't need to fully commit to that Shredded Dirk either. If I'm also just looking like bang for buck in terms of damage relative to gold spent, if I just like sat on double longsword and just built boots, or even just one longsword and building boots, you know, instead of going for the full Shredded Dirk, then I could at least have some mobility alongside all my damage. Hang on. Nami may be in the lane. Hang on, we're getting ganked. We need to back off. He just flashed. I'm gonna have to root him so he doesn't reach me. Doing some damage as much as I can, but... Oh. Jesus, my damage. Trying to heal up with the red as much as I can. I'm only gonna use red on these minions. They may be doing Godric again. Probably are. And at no point do I want to actually tank those minions if I can avoid it. Nor do I want to try and freeze them or anything else. I'm just trying to heal from them as much as I can. So that I can be ready to fight Kai'Sa again, should that be necessary. Very satisfying amount of AD right now where I can just one-shot those minions. With just an auto and a purple Q. Okay, we're doing a pretty good job, I think, this game overall. Not a whole lot of action so far, but what little action there has been, we are winning that. Also sitting on almost 10 CS per minute. Massively ahead of the Kai'Sa. Surely Wukong still isn't bot side, right? I'm taking a gamble, because I don't know that for sure, but... just seems fairly unlikely to me. Alright, nice. That was a lot of damage to her there, what the hell? I must have gotten some crits on those red Qs. Red Q hits. Alright, we see Nami topside, so we know Kai'Sa's completely alone here, so she's probably just greeting if she tries to defend this turret. We'll see what happens. Nautilus should... oh, yep. Perfect. Yeah, there's just no chance you can possibly survive that unless the Nautilus somehow horrendously misplays. Using green Q there just to preserve my chakram so I can keep melting this wave as fast as I can. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna get the wave on this, sorry, the turret on this push, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start basing. I've got a lot of gold to spend at this point. Yeah, I can really feel the damage. Like, obviously, to an extent, I was sacrificing all of this stuff for damage, because I didn't go boots, I didn't go dagger until very late. So, like, literally all I built was just damage. So you could say, oh, of course you're gonna deal a lot of damage. But yeah, I could tell that just going for, like, Serrated Dirk instead of going for, like, Correct Cloak, or, like, going for that extra BF sword instead of straight up completing Collector. Just those components that I had were by far much more damage than I could achieve with anything else, unless I got lucky crits on Collector or something. Numbers 3 here. Would have liked to follow up on that Caliber mark. Oh, hang on. Okay, nice. I like how that sentry is still there. She's dead. Beautiful. Forget what I was saying now. Oh yeah, I would have loved to follow up on that Caliber mark on Nami, but I needed to make sure I was in a safe position before I did it, and just never ended. I didn't feel I was safe until she was already out of my range, unfortunately. So kind of missed out on some damage there, but it's also just a super important thing is to just, you know, just because you have a Caliber mark doesn't mean you have to proc it. Sometimes there are other concerns, because like I'm always saying when we're talking about which rotation to run, and you know, the way that I just don't run green-blue if I know that the main threats on the enemy team are melees. You know, Caliber marks, they just lock you down for a fairly long time. They're fairly clunky. So if you're in a safe position, when you can proc one, that's fine. But if you are in the middle of a situation where you need to be actively positioning, you might not want to lock yourself down with a Caliber mark. Especially the far away. There's actually two different animations for Caliber marks, by the way. There's a close range one and there's a long range one. Long range one is slower to proc. This could be good. Yeah, she's dead. Nice one. Okay, it doesn't look like they have enough people on the map to be defending against me right now, but do I really want to push mid? Probably not. Can we maybe catch out Wukong though? If I just ult him, he's just gonna W away with his clone. What the hell? Wait, I could have stunned him sooner, my bad, but I wasn't expecting. I literally, as soon as I autoed them, I already switched to blue because I wasn't even expecting to actually get that auto off. It was odd of him to let me get into range of him like that. Oh my god, his damage. Oof, that was a close one. I guess it was also enhanced by Nami, so it was a little bit deceptive. Like, he's not actually... Wukong is not some fucking broken-ass one-shot machine. It's more like, yeah, Nami E hit me, Nami W hit me, Nami's Mandate hit me, and overall it just led to me taking a lot more damage than it actually accounted for. Without me accounting for Nami. Thankfully it worked out still. Alright, I'm gonna have to base, but... It's gonna be a satisfying base basing on Serrated, not Serrated Dirk, Noon Quiver. Alright, do I want to switch to another cycle? Nah, I think I'm gonna stick on to this one for now. It definitely switching to the cycle would be more useful for dealing with their divers, but they still have Nami, Kaisa, and the Valkaz. We'll see. I might get chances to actually hit those guys with blue-green at some point. What the hell? Don't want to walk into that Valkaz ult. But unfortunate. Wasn't even aimed at me, but it just happened to pass through that guy onto me as well. Either way, I don't think I could have reached Wukong in time to change much, unfortunately. Volkos basically just had an easier time following up than I did, and that turned the fight in their favor. I can possibly still... Nah, never mind. Damn it, Wukong didn't die. Did I not crit? I'm not sure. I feel like he probably should have died there, but maybe I misjudged his HP. Or maybe he got healed by Nami or something. I don't think they saw me here. Nice. Damn it. Couldn't cast green Q fast enough. Whoa, there's a Jax around me. No, yeah. I may as well try and kill the Volkos there. I would have liked to try and recall there, but unfortunately, obviously, Volkos wasn't letting me do that, so... It was inevitable I would get sandwiched between him and the Jax eventually. May as well try and kill the Volkos first. How do we get in that scenario? How did I not notice there was a Jax in the flank position? It was just those three, then one of them died. Then I killed Nami. I guess, yeah, Jax just rotated from top lane. Technically, I did know that it was top lane, so that's poor awareness from myself. When I started paying attention to the map, this is all I saw, unfortunately. And I also wasn't paying attention to the map at this point. This is probably now where I noticed Jax. But yeah, I could have actually just walked away from there as well if I just noticed him sooner. Oh well. We can sell the coal, get Lord Dominic's. Still don't have any bit of armor, so yeah, this collect the second item was just fine here. Well worth going for that serrated dirk. Okay, the next thing to play for is going to be Drake. I mean, Baron is also coming up, but I don't have the royal weapons to rush that or anything, and we don't have to worry about the enemies doing that either. They're too behind. Wukong wants to try and get a piece of his jungle. We can probably stop him. Ideally, I'd have some vision there. Actually, I'm going to drop Sentry for vision. Definitely don't underestimate that, just using Sentry for vision. It's got a fairly low cooldown as well, so you can even place it at multiple points. Like if you need vision in your jungle. Obviously it's only temporary, only lasts about 20 seconds, but you know, I'm not going to stay there for that long anyway. Alright, Drake is spawning, let's go take that. Or actually, okay, they seem to be committing on the Camille here. Let's just push, then I can solo the Drake. Ooh, I missed. Another displacement. They're still top lane. Wow, they're giving up so much here. The Drake and the Inhib just for failing to kill Camille. Although it has to be said, even if they got her, I mean, that obviously just wasn't going to be worth. Alright, fuck it. I think I'm fine to switch to the other cycle. It's getting quite late into the game anyway, and that one scales better, in my opinion. Alright, cool. Still got 10 assists per minute. It's been a fairly clean game aside from that one death. I was gonna flash that. Ooh, Oh, thankfully I managed to avoid that. Boom. Triple. Could potentially be a penta. Let's see if they give it to me. Probably not though. Could flash on one, turn it into a quadra, but... yeah, let's just go push this instead. Alright, that's fine. We don't need to go for the full inhib, we can just base now, because the enemies are starting to revive anyway. Just as long as we get something out of that, because I think definitely, you know, there was a little bit more juice to squeeze out of that. Alright, what is going to be our final item? Can be shield bow, they don't really have much front line. I'll also just do Bloodthirster, I think I'll do Bloodthirster. After all, I'm running Alacrity. I think basically just the fact that I'm running Alacrity is going to make my choice for me. Because I could do with some more sustain. Alright, we got a Baron buff. We should probably actually go top. We can steal their red buff. Basically, top lane is just the only lane that still has a turret left to contest. The siege. That is a long chase. Oh no, she's wiping out our wave. She can still wipe out a wave, like we have to chase her down there. She can wipe out another wave and that's gonna just stop our push. Okay, nice. Whenever I'm ready to base, I can just get another crit cloak. I would base for it if it was a good time. It's actually a fairly important prospect, going from 75% to 90%, but... right now, since we have a whole team grouped, we got Baron running out soon. We want to make use of this time. Just making sure there's nobody in there. Because the fact that it's so, like, it's very unlikely anybody would be there, right? But that's also why most people wouldn't check. And the fact that most people wouldn't check, whoa. Missed again, my bad. Alright, Volkers is dead. Didn't get a mark on Jack, sadly. Does he not have E up now, though? Because if so, then we can just one-shot him. Perfect. Yeah, the fact that most people wouldn't even bother checking that brush because it's so unlikely anybody would try and hide there is exactly why it could actually be such a smart idea to make a desperation play from there. And then you just get a perfect flank on the Aphelios, one-shot him. You know, you gotta check those brushes. Alright, beautiful. Yeah, damn. Very clean game. GG.